Hey everybody, I hope you all are doing well and welcome back to Michael's Matters. And I, of course, am Michael. And this week, in fact, today, that's Friday, October 7th, 2022, 23 million Californians, including those folks receiving Social Security benefits, so that could be Social Security Retirement, Social Security Disability, SSDI, and Supplemental Security Income, or SSI, will begin to get another round of stimulus checks in the beautiful golden state of California. This time around, referred to as inflation relief checks between $200 all the way up to $1,050 per household should begin to start showing up in bank accounts today for those who are eligible. And really, not for nothing, I have to mention this, these are coming out suspiciously close to the midterm elections. I'm just saying. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. Anyway, today I'm going to talk about who is eligible for these checks, why people on Social Security benefits, SSDI, SSI, and Social Security Retirement are eligible this time around, and who will start to get those checks first. Now, this is Michael's Matters, and before we get to it, if you like these videos, if you find them interesting, if you find them helpful, or if you at least find them useful, please don't forget to like and subscribe. That way you can get updates when my newest and most informative videos become available. All right, let's get down to it. All right, so first things first, let's talk about the change this time around that will allow folks on Social Security benefits in California to now be eligible for this round of stimulus checks. Previously, under the Golden State Stimulus Check 1, that's GSS 1, and the Golden State Stimulus Check 2, appropriately named GSS 2, the key component of being eligible for those checks was that someone had to have a California adjusted gross income, so CAGI, of $1 up to $75,000 a year. This left many Californians who rely on Social Security Retirement, Social Security Disability, and Supplemental Security Income out of the eligibility group because they didn't technically have a California adjusted gross income of $1 or more. Now, under this most recent stimulus check, this so-called inflation relief check, by the way, it used to be called the gas tax relief check when gas was higher, I guess a couple months ago. But now, if you are on Social Security benefits, you can qualify. This is obviously the right move by state officials because, like everybody else in the state, folks on fixed benefits are getting hit hard by inflation, and maybe if not even harder than many of us, because a lot of them are not seeing their benefits go up as much as we are seeing wages go up on a yearly basis. So, that all adds up as well. Now, next, let's talk about how much Californians can expect to see starting today, that's Friday, and ultimately how much they can expect to receive to help fight back these raging tides of inflation. So the amounts that households can get are going to be on a much more generous income scale for eligibility than on the Golden State Stimulus Checks 1 or 2. This time around, households earning up to $500,000 for joint filers can still actually qualify. The income that is used to qualify is going to be based off the income from line 17 of a 2020 Form 540 on your taxes, or a line 16 on Form 542EZ, again from 2020. I'll put the charts up here so you can see them and put the links down below so you can check them out just in case you want to, because there's a little bit more information on there as well. But for a single household filer, that is just one person, and if their income is less than $75,000 a year, then they will qualify for a minimum stimulus check of $350. If you add a dependent, so a single person with a dependent, then that number doubles up to $700. Now, if the income is up to $125,000, then those numbers drop down to $250 for a single person or $500 if there is a dependent who's also included in there. And then finally, if you make between $125,000 and $250,000 as a single person, that number drops down to $200 just for one person or $400 for a single person with a dependent. So that is for a single household. Now, if you're a married person or if you are filing jointly, then the income increases by double dose. So for a joint filers with no dependents, and no, little Suki doesn't count, a joint household can qualify for up to $700 on this relief check. If there's a dependent, then that would be maxed out at a maximum of $1,050. So that is who gets the maximum amount of the inflation relief check. That is, of course, if the income is below $150,000. For joint filers, that goes up to $250,000. Then that number will drop down to $500 for the joint filers, or $750 if there's a dependent. So that's 3 people. And then for those joint filers who make up to $500,000, then they would get the least amount of the inflation relief check of $400 or $600 if there are dependents. So either way, getting any of these would be good, right? Getting any amount of money is always helpful. But it is unfortunate for those families who have multiple dependents that they actually can't get more based off how many dependents they have. Because essentially, if you have more people in the household, then the amount of the relief actually goes down because you're spreading it over the number of people. So that would have made more sense to me, but unfortunately, it doesn't look like they did that. Now let's talk about how and when you should be receiving these checks. So the money is actually going to show up in people's bank accounts starting today. But like before, it's not all going to go out at once. So like the GSS-1 and the GSS-2, it's going to come out in waves. The first group of people who will be getting the inflation relief payments are those folks who previously received direct deposits for the first Golden State stimulus and the second Golden State stimulus checks. Those are going to show up starting October 7th, so today, through October 25th. The next group of direct deposits are going to get sent out from October 28th through November 14th. And the California FTB, that's the tax people here in California, they anticipate that around 90% of all the payments that are going to be made for the inflation relief checks are going to be sent out during this time frame. Now, the later group who will see these payments are those who previously got the GSS-1 and the GSS-2, but received their benefits via a debit card or a paper check. So for the inflation relief check, it will actually come out as a debit card this time. These will start getting sent out October 25th through December 10th. And the last will be those California residents who didn't fall into any of these previous categories. So a lot of them will probably be Social Security, Supplemental Security Income folks who will get their benefits sent out by January 15th. So it's going to be a little bit of a wait for them, and definitely they're going to miss the holidays with the extra cash. Now, lastly, and definitely not leastly, let's talk about who is eligible for these checks. So according to the FTB website, again, the tax people here in California, to qualify, you would have had to have filed your 2020 taxes by October 15th, 2021. You would have had to have met the above, what we just talked about, the California adjusted gross income, and you would not have been able to have been claimed as a dependent for the tax year of 2020. Furthermore, you would have had to have been a California resident for 6 months or more during 2020. And now, today, on Friday, you must currently be a California resident. So you must be a CA resident on the day that the payment is issued. Now, one important thing to note for this is that for those folks who do use an ITIN number and who were in the process of getting it in that time frame, and they got it after October 14th, they would have actually had to file their taxes. That's October 14th, 2021. They would have had to file a full, complete 2020 tax by February 15th, 2022. So that's this year to be able to have gotten those benefits. So there's actually a couple different things that are super duper interesting about this. The first is that this is suspicious, like way suspicious, almost as suspicious as those cookie crumbs leading from my computer desk to the cookie jar. Definitely guilty. But being so close to the midterm elections, where many Democratic incumbents in California are concerned about getting hammered in their midterms, and could just happen to, sort of really use a boost like giving direct payments to California. I mean, this whole thing just feels very third world election-y, right? It doesn't feel like something that would be happening in one of the largest economies in the world. So that's that. Second, and really my favorite thing about this, is the fact that it was initially called the gas rebate check back when they drafted this and the gas prices were super high. But then the gas prices went down and they said, oh, well, inflation's up, so we'll call it an inflation relief check. And now gas prices are way, way back up, so they could have just stuck with the gas tax relief like that. But I guess inflation still works. And lastly, and really most concerning, is the potentiality of making inflation worse with these checks. I mean, these checks were meant to fight inflation, but it might actually make it worse. Yes, obviously, California needs more support to make ends meet, as the cost of living and everything for that matter are going up. And again, the people who are hit really hard by this are those folks who are on fixed incomes. Those COLAs just aren't going to cut it. But by dumping more money into the fire, it could potentially only make things worse and leave Californians as a whole really no better off than they were when this whole thing was thought up. All right, so that's it for me today, and I hope that you enjoyed this video, or at least you found it interesting, or maybe helpful, or even useful. And if you did, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button so you get notified when my newest and most informative videos become available. So for Michael's Matters, I'm Michael, hoping that you take care of yourselves, take care of others, and have a happy, healthy